a day at Chemo. So during this process, you really have to make sure that your entire head is soaking wet because the cold cap is super freezing at 3 degrees, and in order for it to work effectively, your head needs to be completely drenched, mostly your scalp. That's what really matters during this entire process. So as you can see, Sherry is using a spray bottle to really get into my scalp. And for some reason, my scalp would just be hot all the time, and I think it was mostly from the steroids, so my hair would end up drying fairly quickly, so she would have to spray it constantly to keep it soaking wet during this process. And right before I get my cold cap put on, she goes ahead and does it one more time just to make sure that my scalp is completely soaking wet before the nurse puts the Digni Cap on. All right, so this is my awesome nurse, and she actually is making sure that the Digni Cap fits perfectly on my head. That's a little like bonnet that they use to try and keep the cold air in that's coming off of the cap. And then you get one more cap that goes on top that you click tightly to make sure that it's secure to your head. Once the whole cold cap production is complete, I get my port cleaned out, and they flush the port, and then they give me all my pre-chemo meds like steroids and anti-nausea stuff, Benadryl, all kinds of different drugs. And you're going to see she is going to use a cold spray, which numbs the area so that when she pricks me with the needle, I don't feel it that much. Here is my nurse giving me a shot in my belly. This helps me not be nauseous and feel sick for about 5 days after chemo, and it hurts because the liquid is super thick. All right, I get one more type of medicine at the end of my infusion, and then also you can see the cap is a little bit loose so that my scalp can start to defrost. I started to lose a little bit of hair already, so if I took it off right away, the hair would get stuck to the icicles and to the cap, and then it would rip my hair out, so we didn't want to do that. Right, that wraps up the Digni Cap process, and you can see now that this is the shot that the nurse gives me in my arm to boost my white blood cells because chemo completely wipes them out every time, and it kind of stings. So that was a day at Chemo with the Digni Cap and a full infusion day. So what you didn't see was our arrival, which was 9 o'clock a.m. for my appointment. I usually get my vitals done and then start my infusion about an hour and a half, 2 hours after that, because I have to make sure my scalp is wet. I get pre-chemo meds, and then I actually start my infusion, and then I have to stay and get more medicine, as you guys saw. So using the cold cap, the Digni Cap, was a huge blessing. I am super grateful I even had the chance to use it. I did lose quite a bit of hair, as you can see on the top of my head in the video, and it started to get a little shiny, but thankfully it's growing back. Got a little regrowth here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like super thin. So my hair is growing back super thin everywhere. it's funny, like I didn't have to shave my armpit like the entire chemo. I know my ladies can relate. That was a little TMI, but like that just goes to show you like hair everywhere falls out, not just on your head. You lose your eyebrows, you lose your eyelashes, like if you have hair on your arms, like hair on your legs, like I didn't have to shave my legs. So yeah, enough about that. Back to the Digni Cap. Yeah, it was quite a process to do, but chemo is quite a process as well. That stuff can hit your body so hard, and it's not just physically, but mentally as well. And I'll do another video about that later. But, you know, some of the side effects were nail changes. I took the polish off to show you guys. Like, this doesn't happen to everybody, but to me it did. And this happened after I was done with chemo. Like, my nails change after, and I'm like, come on. But thankfully they're growing back already, and I just cut off the, I guess, the dead nail as it grows out. So if you have any questions about the Digni Cap or just chemo in general or just going through the process, I'd love to connect with you. You don't have to be a person who has had cancer or has cancer to reach out. Like, you can be a caregiver or just curious about this whole process. I'd love to connect with you. There are lots of different side effects. There are lots of things that people will tell you to do, not to do. I just want to share my experience with you guys. I'm super grateful I had a good experience going throughout chemo, despite how hard those drugs are on your body. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of help the process, but I just wanted to show you guys basically what a day at chemo was like. So feel free to reach out, and thank you so much for watching my video.